Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook.
This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 188. I don't know why, but 88 is just such a beautiful number.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host, flaming hot Cheetos was his lunch every day during the 10th grade. Yikes, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Running a business means legal questions are inevitable. Is this contract or agreement solid? What can I do if a client won't pay me? Am I set up properly for taxes? Well, rather than trying to navigate all of this on your own or searching endlessly online, imagine having a law firm on your side without the high hourly rates. That's exactly what Legal Shield's small business plans offer. With Legal Shield, entrepreneurs get access to real legal support, contract reviews, collection letters, guidance on business formation, and even help handling IRS audits. Members can book consultations, upload documents through the app, and work with a provider law firm that understands small business laws in your state. You also get proactive help on tax and trademark questions so you can stay ahead of legal risks. And if a client delays payment, Legal Shield can send professional collection letters to help you recover what you're owed, all for a fraction of what traditional attorneys charge. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI.
What's up, everybody? Pat Flynn here. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you didn't know already, one of my favorite numbers is 88 because that's how many miles per hour you need to go in order to time travel. And so the flux capacitor does its thing. But anyway, I'm a huge Back to the Future geek. Any reference opportunity I have, I take it. So thank you for that. Now, today is a really important episode because I think a lot of you who may be struggling with monetization or looking for a different method of doing it other than just selling information products or getting sponsors, this could be the next best thing for you or the best thing for you. And we're going to be talking about a platform out there called Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com, which is essentially a way for you to collect recurring funds from your fans based off of the creation of your content. So it's essentially recurring funding for artists and creators. So if you have a podcast, if you do any music, I mean, you name it, there's a lot of different kinds of people and companies and groups who are making money in a recurring fashion through Patreon. And we're going to be talking with two people today, Jack Kant, the founder, and we're also going to be talking about this with Tom Merritt, somebody who is a user of Patreon, who's generating, at the time I recorded the interview, between $5,000 and $6,000 a month from his fans. And I think that's the cool thing about this. You're not selling information products. You're not, hitting them hard with that. But you're saying, hey, guys, if you want to support what I do, if you love what I do, go ahead and pledge. There's different levels, sort of like Kickstarter. People can choose to pledge different amounts, and you can give them access to different things as a result of doing that. But let's say, for example, you have a podcast and you're struggling to monetize, but you have an amazing raving fan base. And if you get 100 people to pay you $10 every time you come out with an episode, and you come out with 4 episodes a month, you've generated $4,000, if my math is correct. And it's sort of a way for your audience to give back to you for you providing value to them, but also it allows you to potentially get rid of sponsors, which can interrupt the show every once in a while. And it makes your audience feel great to support you in that way. And it's kind of cool. Every time you come out with a piece of content, you're going to get paid for it, and it's going to allow you to be more motivated to make sure that you come out with that content, of course, and also make it even better for them too. So, like I said, we're going to talk with the founder, Jack Kant, talk all about this platform, how it got started, and tips for people who are just starting out. But also, we're going to talk with Tom Merritt, somebody who is a user of this platform who's doing very well, and some tips for those of you who might be interested in it too. So without further ado, let's get right into the first part with founder of Patreon.com, Jack Kant. Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here with Jack Conti, the CEO and founder of Patreon.com. Jack, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thanks, Pat. I'm great, man. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, this is going to be an epic show because not only we're interviewing you, but we're interviewing one of your users who's been very successful using your platform. So this is going to be great. Now, really quick, can you tell us what Patreon is for those of us who don't know exactly what it does?
Yeah, Patreon is ongoing support from fans to creators, people who make stuff for the internet, blogs and podcasts and videos and music and webcomics. It's a way for fans to say, hey, I love what you do. I want to become a patron. It's like true patronage. You can actually become like a patron of the arts and support somebody, give them $5 a month, $10 a month. But it's recurring payments between a fan and a creator that they support.
Where did you get this idea?
I got it from staring at my YouTube dashboard for far too many hours, seeing 1 million views and $166 of ad earnings, and just feeling like that sucks.
Yeah. So you used to do YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I still do, actually. I mean, my band for the last 2 years has been releasing one new video every month. And, I'm making my living still, actually, as a creator on Patreon. I'm not taking a salary as a CEO. I'm using the product and making my living as a YouTuber. That
is so cool. I didn't even realize that you were generating an income, that you were making a living off of the own platform that you've created for yourself.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So walk us through how you are doing that. Like, what is that? If somebody wanted to, like, say somebody was watching your video, your like a music video on YouTube, and they found you, how are you pitching that? And then walk us through that experience of actually making this happen.
Sure. So at the end of the video, Natalie and I, Natalie's the other half of Pamplemousse, the much prettier, less bald, more attractive and talented half of Pamplemousse. So at the end of the video, we get up and we say, hey, everybody, we're making videos. We know that you like them. You leave comments and you favorite it and you leave, views. And we know there's a community around our work. If you like our stuff and you want to become a patron, you can help support more videos just like this. And you can do that by going to patreon.com/pamplemousse. And then when they go to that link, when they go to patreon.com/pamplemousse, we've got a page up there that explains what Patreon is and what we're doing and where the money goes and, what our life is like. And people can become a patron of us right there on that page. When they click become a patron, they enter their credit card info. And you basically sign up for a pledge amount of your choice, $1 per month, $2 per month, $10 per month. We have some folks giving $100 per month. Actually, 1% of Patreon's payouts to creators on the whole is $1,000 pledges. So some folks pledge a lot, but then the person basically, becomes a patron, confirms, and then they're set to give that creator a buck a month or whatever it is that they chose. And then the creator, every time they release a work, if they're doing a per creation campaign, or every month if they're doing a monthly campaign, gets a regular, stable, reliable income that they can use to estimate how they're doing and hire people if they need help, or get an accountant so that they can focus on writing while their accountant does their business management. Whatever it is that you need. I think presenting that vision to your fans just sort of helps them understand, where is this money going? Why am I giving? And how is it helping?
Yeah, it reminds me of that article from Kevin Kelly called 1,000 True Fans.
That's it, man.
And it's like, I love that article because it just puts into perspective that, if you had 1,000 fans paying you $100 a year, you have a 6-figure income already. So you actually don't need to build something that everybody in the world uses. You can build something that particular sub-market, potentially of a sub-market would use. This is like the vehicle potentially that could make that happen, especially for people like artists and content creators and musicians and the like.
Yeah. I think, so first of all, Kevin's, a genius. I think that article called it years and years and years in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing about Patreon that is that makes this possible is there are lots of fans who spend $100 a year on a creator, but they spend $100 a year on really low margin forms of revenue for the creator. So what I mean by that is, if a creator sells a t-shirt and their fan comes out of pocket $25 for the t-shirt, the creator may only make 5% of that. Maybe they're or whatever, even less. The creator may be making pennies on a dollar for a t-shirt sale. Or if it's a CD, then it's a different margin. The point is, most creator businesses were sort of low margin businesses, especially merchandise businesses.
Right.
Creators ended up at the end of the day. So even if you got 1,000 fans paying $100 a year, if you get 5% of that, it's just not enough to make a living. And with Patreon, when a fan pledges, $100, creator gets to keep 95% of it. So I think the thing that makes it possible is just this really high margin revenue for creators, just speaking from a purely business perspective. It's money that you get to keep as opposed to money that you have to spend on the stuff, which really isn't why the fan wanted to support you anyway. A lot of the time when fans buy things, sometimes they want the stuff and it's nice to wear the t-shirt because it gives you a sense of identity. But ultimately, how many times have you heard people say I listened on Spotify, but then I bought the album because I wanted to support the artist? I hear that probably on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what people don't even realize, that's a really low margin way to support an artist.
The first time I heard Patreon or of Patreon or about it, I was 50-50 on it because, I think a lot of people might feel like this is a form of internet panhandling, the tip jar, that sort of thing. Obviously it's not. Now that I've learned more about the platform, learned about how people have used it, I don't feel it's that way. But how do you respond to people who feel like, this is just a glorified kind of tip jar type thing?
Yeah, I love it when people bring that up because I think it's it's a really important thing to discuss, like as a society and just philosophically, like what is this and what does it mean? And what I try to do when people bring it up is just remind people that actually this is not weird. And I'll explain what I mean by that. About 100 years ago, humans figured out how to record art and put it on a thing, on a physical thing, and then sell that thing to consumers. So, and this worked with light and photography and film. We figured out how to capture light onto a piece of photographic paper. We figured it out with sound. So with music, you could record it onto a wax cylinder and then box up the wax cylinder and sell it to consumers. But we basically figured out how to record art onto a physical thing and then package that thing and then distribute that thing around the world and sell it to consumers for a price. So what happened then is we created billions of dollars of infrastructure around the packaging and shipping and distribution of these physical things that people could purchase. And because it's billions and billions of dollars of infrastructure and so many jobs and so much energy and time and creation, most of the money then, like every time you go through one stage of that infrastructure, you lose money to some of the infrastructure for the creator. So the creator ends up at the end of the chain with a very, very tiny amount of the funds that were actually spent by the consumer. Okay, that is freaking weird. Like that is a really weird system that we've developed over the last 100 years. Like you can put your art on a thing and then ship it with a truck, like literally physically with a truck. You could ship it around the world and give it to somebody. That is a really weird phenomenon. What's not weird is the way art has always been made, which is patronage. Like every piece of great work that we've ever studied or seen in a history book or, anything was made because some wealthy person saw what somebody was doing and said, here's a bag of coins, go do awesome things because you're awesome. I like you. Whether that's Beethoven's Fifth, whether that's Michelangelo's David, I don't care. Every piece of great art we've ever known has been made because some patron said, I like what you do, go do more of that. That's what's normal. That's how art has been funded for thousands and thousands of years. And it's only in the last 100 years that unit sales, the sale of a physical object that contains art on it, it's only in the last 100 years that has become the norm. So when people start saying, hey, patronage is weird, paying somebody without a paywall, paying for a non-physical good, paying for a person instead of for stuff, when somebody says that that's weird, I say, no, it's not. Like that's normal. What's weird is this billions of dollars of infrastructure that we've developed to kind of counteract patronage.
Yeah. Like you go on a computer, you sign into iTunes and you have to download this app and then that's how you get your music. But this is actually how you can actually help somebody directly, which I think is really cool. And again, we're going to be talking with Tom in a second at the second half of the show, who has used this for his podcast and some of the other things he's doing to quite great success. And I think it's really cool. One of the final questions I want to ask you, Jack, is, okay, I still feel that the audience would be like, oh, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable asking my audience to pay me money. Yeah. Like a lot of people would feel bad doing that. I know a lot of artists and musicians who are like, no, man, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing it for the art and that sort of thing. And I get that, but you obviously need to get paid. And so how do you be okay with this if you're not, and how would you pitch somebody to pay you?
Yeah, totally. Okay. So you can imagine I've thought about this one a lot too.
Well, you're doing it. So
yeah. Okay. So I don't view it as asking for money. I view it as letting people pay me. And here's the tricky thing, and this is hard to get used to as a creator, because I think a lot of creators, especially modern creators who aren't like super famous, they're not like Angelina Jolie, they're like a podcaster with 200,000 followers, they're entrepreneurs, and they're really attuned to the world and to like this generation of creators and what's happening with social media, where everybody's kind of a little bit famous, and they kind of, in general, I think a lot of creators feel like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm doing my thing and I've got some fans, but they don't feel special to themselves. And what they forget, and I think what a mistake that a lot of creators make, is they don't realize the impact and the meaning that they have in their fans' lives. Mm-hmm. And this is something because of modesty and just creators having an even head these days. They're not like mega star celebrities. They're this modern generation of demi celebrities. Because of that, they they don't even believe that they could possibly be worth $100 a month to some of their fans. And what they forget is they are worth that to their fans. And many of their fans would not, it's not that they would support because they feel like they should or they have to or because you ask them. They're dying to support you. They can't wait to send you money. They just want to help. They want you to make more. They want you to be able to do what you're doing. And Patreon is like putting up a page that literally just lets them do that. All you're doing, you're not asking for money. You're letting people give you money if they want to. That's what it is. And that's what I kind of have to remind people as we talk about this. They say, I don't want to ask my fans for money. I say, don't ask your fans for money. You can put up a page and just let people do it if they want to. I actually think that's a big distinction. It's not just semantics. It actually is like a difference in the quote unquote pitch, and how creators sort of perceive themselves and how their fans perceive them too. So yeah, that's a big one, and I think it's really important. And I actually think it will become like more and more commonplace as creators realize, like, oh my gosh, there's a large contingent of my fans that want to just support. I mean, how many times, I'm sure this happens to you and to everybody listening right now, like, how many times do you go on the internet and do you see something or read something or listen to something that just moves you and just makes you feel glad to be a human and makes you feel less alone in the world and makes you feel excited and inspired, and it's coming from somebody who does that for you on a regular basis? Like that's worth everything. Like I have a dozen creators at least who do that for me on a regular basis, and it's not a matter of acting when they ask me to pay for them. I just want to pay them. I just want to give them money so that they can keep doing that. So that's kind of how I feel.
Love it, Jack. Dude, thank you so much for the intro to Patreon and your thoughts on it. I fully agree with its power as a platform to really make a connection between a creator and his or her fans and vice versa. So we're going to talk with Tom in just a sec, but I just want to say thank you again, Jack, for what you've done here, creating a platform where, I mean, people are making a living off of what you've created, including yourself. So well done and congratulations.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. All right. I hope you enjoyed the first part of this particular podcast episode with Jack Kant, again, the founder of Patreon.com. And now we're going to get into an interview with Tom Merritt, who is a podcaster in the tech space who is using Patreon with incredible success. And we're going to talk all about it and how he got started and the benefits of using it, and also some tips and tricks for those of you who are going to be using it too. So let's get right into the interview. Part 2 of this podcast episode with Tom Merritt. Here we go. Hey, everybody. What's up? Pat here, and I'm here with Tom Merritt from Daily Tech News Show. He's a podcaster. He's up on Patreon. We're going to talk to him about everything that's going on with that. But first of all, Tom, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Pat. This is great.
This is awesome. So tell us, before we get into the Patreon stuff and talking about your success on it and kind of tips for people who want to get started on the platform, tell us kind of how you got, what were you doing before being a podcaster and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I got into podcasting in 2005 when I was working at CNET, and it was brand new. It was something we wanted to try. And I had been working at CNET for about a year at that point. I'd worked at Tech TV before that. So I was very interested, and I've always been interested in covering technology and playing around with new technologies. And I really loved the idea of being able to take control of the distribution of your audio. So we did a podcast at CNET for several years called Buzz Out Loud. A few years later, 2010, I moved on to the This Week in Tech network. I worked for Leo Laporte for a few years. And then in 2013, at the end of 2013, I went independent. And that's when I started Daily Tech News Show. I had already had a couple of shows going, and I started a couple of more shows independent and brought everything under my own control.
Love that. So Daily Tech News Show, that's what people can type into iTunes to find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and if you go to tommerritt.com, you can find, I do way too many podcasts to mention them all, but I do a bunch of others as well.
Awesome. That's TOMMERRITT.com. Now, tell us when you were first introduced to Patreon and what your initial thoughts of it were.
Yeah, I was doing a show called Tech News Today at the Twit Network when I first read about them on TechCrunch, and I opened up an account and started a page with the idea of maybe taking one of my independent podcasts at the time and funding it that way. And I kicked it around with my co-host, and we decided not to for that particular project, but I was really interested in what Jack was doing with Patreon and that idea of going directly to fans and providing a value for value model. Adam Curry, the No Agenda podcast, had been doing something similar, except without Patreon, just kind of rolling it himself and saying, I'll handle all the processing. I'm lazier than Adam, so I was intrigued by this idea of having a service like that. And then when it was time to go independent in December 2014, my friend Brian Brushwood, who I was co-hosting a show I do about cord cutting called Cord Killers, said, well, when we take our show independent, why don't we use Patreon? Because he had heard about it. And I said, oh, right. I remember that service. He was really excited about it. And so we launched our Patreon. It went gangbusters. It was incredibly successful at funding that show. And when I got a couple weeks into Daily Tech News Show in January, I realized that if what I was seeing from Cord Killers was right, which was a weekly show and had fewer downloads than Daily Tech News Show, that I could make more by asking the fans to fund the show than I would get from a normal CPM.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. I'm on your page right now, and I'll link to it in the show notes for everybody. But I see for Daily Tech News Show, you have 5,003 patrons, so congrats on getting over 5,000, and $16,048.53 per month. So that just is money you know that's coming in because you've had people say, I'm going to pledge this much per month for these episodes that you come out with. This is such an incredible business model, and I think it's going to open up a lot of people's eyes to what's possible out there. What are your thoughts on this now? Like, how incredible is this?
Well, it's great. I was blown away when we got to $5,000 a month that I could actually pay my producer, Jenny Josephson, who had been helping me get the show off the ground. And what this has done and what I have done with it is take, just enough that I need to be able to be worth my time and bring in other people so that we can make the show better and better and hopefully provide more value as more people give us value for the show. The one thing that I've learned with Daily Tech News Show is there is a psychology to this. Weekly shows are going to make more per episode than daily shows. I do a monthly pledge for Daily Tech News Show because I think it'd be a little too much to tell people to pledge every show for 20 shows a month. But there is a psychological aspect of that where I notice that with Cord Killers being weekly, we do make a little more per episode, but then you're not actually making as many shows there.
Right.
But overall, that's the quibbly numbers stuff. We have enough to fund a show in a way that I couldn't otherwise, and very important for a news show, keep it free of commercial influence. Now, there are other patrons I do where we ask patrons to support the show, but we also still take advertising. This Daily Tech News Show, we don't, because it's really important to a lot of people in our audience that when we're covering news, that it's uninfluenced. And one way to make sure that it's uninfluenced is to say, okay, if you can fund us at this level, we set that level at $10,000 a month, that will be enough to meet what we would normally get as a CPM. So we will forego ads. You will become the direct funders of the show. And that makes people feel more invested in the show, and they're more willing to continue to support it for that reason.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, I just pulled down the drop-down menu here that says milestone goals that you've achieved. So I see the $10,000 per month mark ad-free, and then you have another contributor coming in at $13,000 per month, and then another one at $16,000, and then you have ones coming up where you have a video feed at $20,000 per month. So it almost has sort of a Kickstarter campaign situation going on here where people are pledging, and then there's these sort of follow-up, I forgot what they call them on Kickstarter, but kind of stretch goals, I guess you could say.
Stretch goals.
Which is really, really cool. So you're getting and bringing your fans together, and they feel like they're having a better way of supporting you. Now, a couple questions here. You said you had launched with gangbusters, and how were you able to do that? Were you just like, hey, here's my link, go, or was there a process for you for doing that?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough, as I mentioned, to have been doing this for a while. So I built up an audience at CNET and at Twit. And so I had enough people who were interested in seeing me do something and seeing me do something new that I think I benefited from that. But the other thing was making sure that people knew that this is the way the show was going to be funded. I did several Google Hangouts that were just open Q&As in the early days to explain to people why I was doing it this way, take questions from people like, wait a minute, is this begging? Why are you doing this?
Right.
Why do you need my money? And so I got a chance to explain to people that what usually happens, and this is not a criticism of this model, but what usually happens is an advertiser pays me to make my content with the hope that the audience goes out and spends money on their product. And so some people will go and spend money on that product and get that product, and some people won't. And what I said was, we have the opportunity here for you to spend less money than you would on that product directly on the show and make sure that the show happens. So it's actually a more efficient model, and you don't have to rely on somebody else being convinced that they want to buy something else, and you get a show out of it.
I think that's a perfect explanation. And I think that right there has already taken a lot of the doubt in people's heads that they're thinking as they're hearing this story. But of course, you had an audience already. And do you have experience with kind of seeing other people come on the space fairly new, other podcasters, other artists, for example, who have started, nearly from scratch, or just kind of they're in their beginning era of their business? And are they finding success as well with it?
Yeah, one of the things that me and a few other podcasters did at the beginning was create a community space. We call it Diamond Club. Long story behind that. It has to do with one of the other shows and their joke about, the special club that their fans were in. But we created diamondclub.tv. There's a chat room there. There's a way for the people in the audience to be able to get on and stream their own shows. And so a lot of them saw what we were doing on Patreon and started to start their own Patreons. And they've been a varied success. There's certainly people who start shows and either they fizzle out or they just don't get the momentum that folks had wanted. Others are maybe not getting the huge amounts of money that would turn it into a business for them, but they're sustainable. And if they're doing it in their spare time, this is something that at least pays them for their hobby and possibly could lead to something in the future. And a few of them have taken off and have really turned into great stuff. One of my favorites is Alpha Geek Radio, which is a sysadmin who really wants to create a way for podcasters to stream audio and video easily on the web. And he has created Patreons to support that, which is almost a B2B model.
Yeah.
He wants the people who will use his product to back him on Patreon to support it. And it's working.
Yeah, that's very cool. And then in terms of, okay, so you launched this, it's going well. How are you continually promoting this? How are you asking your audience, maybe people who come in the future or people who haven't pledged yet, how are you kind of asking them to continue or to start promoting or pledging, sorry?
I mean, most of the stuff I do is in show, because I figure if I want to get people to listen to the show without asking them to give money. And then once they like the show, then I can say, hey, if you like this is how you support the show.
Perfect.
I will do some social media on Twitter and Facebook as well. But mostly it's me on the show saying, hey, thank you to the people who support the show. I explain the value for value model regularly so people understand, look, the reason the show exists is because enough of you think it's valuable. If you think it's valuable, all we ask is that you give a little bit of that value back. Here's how you can do it. We have Patreon. We also have a PayPal donation. We have a store for people who are like, well, I can't really justify just giving money for, whatever reason. And we try to make it so that whatever financial situation you're in, you can support the show and not feel guilty that you're free riding on it, even if it's just telling people about the show and helping spread the word. And then the other thing I do to promote it was not my own plan. People just started sending me little audio clips of them saying this show is supported by viewers like you. You can support it at patreon.com.
Wow, that's cool.
I started playing them at the beginning of the show, and as I played some of them, more people started sending them. And in fact, Jenny and I were just talking the other day how we've got enough of them now that we probably should create a standard so that we know, there's a limit on time and everything. But it's something that the audience just created on its own.
That's amazing. That's so cool. So from your perspective, what is it like to know that your audience is here and they're the ones that are supporting you in the show?
It's fantastic. I can't imagine ever doing a show without the supportive audience. I call them the smartest audience in the world for many reasons. It's not just the funding. I rely on the audience. I read viewer emails every episode, and I rely on the audience to inform me of things that I don't know, because I'm sort of an analyst more than a journalist. I'm looking at the news of the day and trying to put it in context based on my own experience. But we will get people who are involved in customs or involved in agriculture writing in and saying, oh, you know what? You talked about that drone story. Well, I'm an ag pilot, and here's my perspective on it. We get airline pilots talking to us all the time about very technology. And so that makes the show better because they contribute there. I have a live chat room that goes when I record the show, and people are listening in as it's streaming live and contributing that way. And I can see audience reaction, and that helps me kind of understand how I'm going with the show. And then to add on top of that, they're our boss. We have 5,000 bosses on the show, and they're in charge of the show, and then they're invested of the show. Just makes it feel like it really is more and more a group effort.
Man, I love that. You do a really good job of explaining.
Thank you.
No, this is fantastic. I think a lot of people's gears are spinning right now. So I just want to say, Tom, again, thank you so much for the inspiration and the wisdom and kind of the tips here. Any final tips for people in terms of, I'm sure there's some more strategic nuances to, being successful with Patreon. I noticed here in the paragraph that you have on your Daily Tech News show, you kind of break it down to how much it is per show. You say 25 cents a show or $5 per month, for example. And in some of the pledges, you give away other things, like you say you supply a template to make business cards, or, you get analyst level access. And again, this has a lot of tastes and nuances, like in Kickstarter. Are there any strategies that go along in those lines that people can, maybe they're saying, yes, Patreon, I'm going to try it out. What's one or two things they could do beyond just saying yes to it that they can make it work for them?
Sure. My experience is going to be different than everybody else's, obviously. But for what it's worth, what I have found is no matter how you're making money, whether it's on advertising or you're doing something like Patreon or Kickstarter, the biggest thing to remember is that you're making content that people like, and you have to prioritize that first. That has to be the thing that you're making your centerpiece. Mm-hmm. And then when you're doing the fundraising or you're doing the appeal to people, you can point to that and say, look, this is what we're making. We're working really hard to make it the best we can possible. And one thing I learned from Kickstarter is that you don't need to add more content on top of that in thanks for funding. If people really value the main thing that you're making, whether it's music or podcasts or whatever, they'll be happy enough to fund it. And so you want to make the rewards for backing you more creative, easier for you to deliver, and not devaluing your product. I mean, one thing I ran into in Kickstarter was, we're going to make a series of videos, but if you back us at this level, you'll get a book. And if you back us at this level, you get posters. Right. It turned into a merchandising.
I hear that's very
business,
common. Yeah.
Right. And so what I've done with DTNS, with Daily Tech News Show, is really try to make them things that show appreciation for the audience that they couldn't get otherwise, like business cards, like a business card template that says, hey, you're backing us at a level, you get to call yourself co-executive producer. It shows appreciation. We totally mean it, but it's not trying to replicate content. It's not too difficult to provide. It doesn't weigh people down themselves. And it keeps that conversation going. People really like it. And you can get a lot of these kinds of ideas from your audience and find out, okay, what do you guys want? And I guess that's the last thing that I would say. The last tip is keep in communication with the folks that you're asking to help support your show, and make sure you know what they like and how they like it. And we do that in various ways, sometimes through the chat room, sometimes with Hangouts, with Q&As, and sometimes with surveys. But just keep listening.
Is there a way to message the pledgers for your patrons?
Yeah, I used Patreon a little bit like a newsletter, and a newsletter is a great idea on its own. You should have an email list, absolutely.
Of course.
And Patreon can be like that as well. So one of the rewards for backing at the $5 a month level is early warning access. And what I do is every time my producer and I meet and talk about the future of the show, we take notes. And anything that isn't sensitive, we put in an email that goes through Patreon to those backers and says, hey, here's what we're planning. And sometimes we'll get these amazing comments on those posts on Patreon that let us know what people are thinking about that, what they're most excited about. And that helps us to make decisions down the road as well.
Very cool. Tom, thank you so much for your time today. Where can people find out more about you and listen to your show and all that good stuff?
Well, thanks, Pat. I appreciate you having me on. TomMerritt.com, as you mentioned, TomMerritt.com has everything that I do all collected together. And if you're interested in Daily Tech News Show, it's at dailytechnewsshow.com.
Well, there you go. Everybody, check out Tom. Thank you so much. And all the links will be in the show notes. Thanks. All right. I hope you enjoyed that second part with Tom Merritt. Again, you can find him at TomMerritt.com. You can probably get connected through his Patreon on there, or you can look him up on patreon.com too. So again, thanks to Jack, Tom, for coming on and sharing all this information about a brand new platform that I've just gotten to learn about, and I wanted to share this with you because this could be it for you guys. So looking forward to seeing how all of you respond. And actually, if you wanted to respond and also get all the links and resources mentioned in this particular episode, just head on over to smartpassiveincome.com/session188. Again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/session188. You can get all the links. And I'd love to hear from you and see what you think. And if you use Patreon, I'd love to hear your experience too. And I think everybody else in the audience would love to hear your experience with it as well.
I hope you've been enjoying the free podcast content here. I'm really excited because it's one of my favorite things to do, and I know a lot of you have already taken action from the content that you've listened to on the podcast. And if that's you, congratulations. Just keep going, please. It's one of my favorite things to see. But I also know a lot of you, and a lot of you have been telling me that you've been wanting more. You've been wanting additional information, some accountability, some hand-holding along the way. And so depending on what it is that you're looking for, what I would recommend is actually go to smartpassiveincome.com/courses. You'll see the courses that I'm offering there that are paid courses, but they're there to help walk you through certain processes. Depending on what problem you have or what issue or what thing you're trying to solve, go there, check it out. You can see if there's a course available for you and where you're at in your business right now, whether you're just getting started and you just want to make sure you have all the right things in place before you actually devote a lot of time and effort into something. There's a course for you there. For those of you looking to get started with a podcast, there's stuff for you there. And there's going to be more courses there in the future. And how do I come up with those ideas for the courses? They come directly from you. So thank you for all telling me how I can help you better. And if you have ideas for more courses that I can create for you, just hit me up on Twitter @PatFlynn. Let me know, or use my contact page on smartpassiveincome.com. But again, check out and see what's available. smartpassiveincome.com/courses. That will be continually added to over time. So check it out. Thanks so much.
I also want to just tease the fact that my book is being worked on, and I'm really excited because it's going to be great. I've been working on it for the last year essentially, and I've been working with a lot of people to help me make it great. And I'm really excited to share it with you in the next upcoming month. You'll likely see it come out at the beginning of the year, but you will see some buzz going around about it, and some things you could download and check out beforehand. And I'm not even going to mention any links right now. I just wanted to plant that seed for you because it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm really excited. Just make sure you follow me on the blog, smartpassiveincome.com, or on Twitter @PatFlynn, Instagram @PatFlynn, all those different places. You'll eventually see it once it's ready to come out because it's going to be amazing, and it's going to help a lot of people too. So thank you so much for all the support. I appreciate it, and I look forward to serving you in the next episode where we'll be talking with a man who's been doing entrepreneurship for decades, and he's had a lot of experiences and a lot of truthful things to share that are going to help you move forward with your business too, no matter what level you're at. So until then, keep moving forward, keep making mistakes and learning from them, and can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thanks, guys. Take care. And again, the show notes are at smartpassiveincome.com/session188.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.